What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're going to be reviewing Port Adelaide's clash against Richmond, round 11. The MCG was a tight contest, but in the end we got the job done by a 10-point victory. One that I definitely will not be watching ever again. It was certainly not the most prettiest of games, and one where if you're a goal-kicking fanatic, you weren't really going to enjoy this one at all. So regardless, there's 4 points on the board. We've now separated ourselves from fourth with 2 games ahead and locking ourselves in very nicely to be in a top 3 position at the moment. So let's get straight into it and review round 11. Well, you watch today and you think to yourself, if we're winning games of football that are that disgustingly ugly, you can't kick for goal, you're kicking 10 goals, 17 to win a game, you're certainly not playing great footy. And to me, that was the worst win of the year. Obviously, you look at the 9 wins we've had, and I won't go through them all, but you look at games like the West Coast game, an arm's length, but we still played some decent footy. The Sydney game, it was not very nice, but we were competitive and pretty, it was good footy to watch. The Essendon game as well, we didn't kick straight, but we had that element of we knew what we were doing. Today against Richmond, it was certainly a pressure, wet weather, dewy game. There was no skills involved whatsoever. We were pretty much asleep for 2 quarters. We kept Richmond at arm's length. In the last quarter, we sort of turned it on, and key personnel stood up, like your Rosie, your Butters, your Jason Horne-Francis, Alir, and I think as well down forward, and there was a couple of opportunities. I thought Darcy Byrne-Jones was very good with his pressure. Jed McEntee was a really prolific player, and it was the key personnel that stood up throughout the day. Just overall, though, it was not a pretty game. It's not one that gives me a lot of confidence again. You normally win 8 on the trot. That's an equal club record, and you just go, all right, no worries. We're going to go ahead and smash whoever we play next week. Coming out of this game, it seems like there's just that cog in the wheel at the moment that's just chugging along, but not at the pace that I'd like. And after last week's Melbourne game, you come down from it. It's a euphoric high, and you're coming down. You play against a side that's got a bit of motivation with a new coach, and Andrew McWalter did a fantastic job against Port today, I thought, for the Tigers, and his coaching abilities definitely matched Ken in some aspects, and Richmond were definitely able to play that game style that's been highlighted so well over the last 6 or 7 years now. So it definitely was an element of that in that second and third quarter. They matched us. I don't think they were better than us, but they definitely matched us in those areas. And they could have equally had their opportunities to win this game in front of goal. In the end, 27 scoring shots compared to, I think they had 22. So 5 extra scoring shots for us. And some of those were very gettable. Some of those easy set shots as well. And there's just something at the moment that I think down at Alberton is just not right. It's not right at all, and I'm not saying it's not right as in we're not, motivated and we've got everything clicking. We're winning games. It's fantastic. I'm just critical of our goal kicking. That's the one crucial thing. This is the thing that's cost us in many a games, many a prelim finals. You look at 2014, you look at 2020, you look at games that have been crucial over the years that we needed to win. It's been a problem at Alberton for so long, and I don't understand what's going on. I don't see how you can have a 25-metre out set shot and shank it to the left, or you're going right. These are 2 big sticks, fellas, that are sitting right here. Kick straight through the thing. It's not hard. Apparently, at Alberton, it is. I did want to highlight that specifically because I felt like goal kicking, obviously, is the most crucial part of the game. It's going to win you games of football, and that's so, it's so niche to say. It's a cliche of AFL footy, but at the end of the day, if you're not kicking winning scores, you switch that around 17 goals 10. You're on 112. You're beating a Richmond outfit that we probably pumped by 50 points if you kick straight. Like, the game should have been well and truly over in the first quarter. We've kicked 5 goals 4. We've come out with a fiery start, but then we kicked 5 points in the second quarter and have a goalless quarter for, I think, the second or third time this year. It's just, it's going to cost us games. It's so frustrating. And it's a little bit degrading because when you're in a position where you're going to continually win games like we have in being 8 in a row, it's going to bite you. It's going to effectively get you on the arse eventually. It's going to come back and be like, hey, not this time. So I think, You look forward for the next 3 games. They're crucial games. You go to Hawthorn, you come back home, you play Hawthorn at home Saturday afternoon next week. You come back and you play the week after, you go to Marvel and you play the Dogs, and then you play the Cats at home on a Thursday night before the bye. 3 crucial games. All games that we're going to come into probably either favourites or equal favourites. The Dogs one's probably the hardest one, and I say that because it's at Marvel, it's away, it's a big game, and they're in really pretty good touch. And play well at Marvel though, so who knows? But I'm 1 week at a time, obviously. But you look at Hawthorn next week. They're coming off of 2 very good wins. They beat the Saints and they pumped West Coast. They're not going to be an easy rollover. You got to play well. There was a game 2 years ago where we played the Hawks in COVID. We were wearing our Indigenous Guernsey, and we won by 10 points in a game that we were horrible, absolutely horrible, and still found a way to win. It's these games, like today against the Tigers, that, again, you tick that box of we just find a way to win. That is the 5th game this year out of our 9 wins where it has been 10 points or under. Fantastic. That's full credit to us. Full credit to our mentality and our ability to believe in what Ken's saying at 3/4 time and believing in our ability to win a game. I'm not going to deny that. It's just the goal kicking and that mentality of if you're not kicking well, it's going to carry over into other players, and there's a lot more pressure on the next person to kick a goal because you've missed it. In saying that, there was quite a few passengers today, I thought. And I think a lot of positional changes that I didn't quite like. I didn't like Burton being taken back towards the defensive 50 and Bergman going up forward. I really thought that affected both games by them. Burton was obviously very caught out a couple of times one-on-one down back. And I think also his matchups weren't right. We were playing on Samson Ryan at one stage, and then he was playing on Dusty. He's not that player. You don't play him on those types of players. And I think that's where you probably miss a Jonas in that aspect, because he can play on those both those types. And Bergman, he's that intercept marker across halfback. He's the one that's getting you forward and pushing you forward and penetrating that kick inside 50. Sort of mellowed out a bit more in the back half of the last quarter, and he was I thought he was very good there. But 2 players that impact our games have probably had negative impacts on today, and it was quite disappointing. The other one was Junior Rioli, nowhere to be seen. I really thought his game was very disappointing, and something that needs to be looked at. Jackson Mead was probably not someone that's going to play next week, if I'm absolutely honest. He's just making simple mistakes, and I know he's putting a lot of pressure on himself to try and get back in and keep his spot in the side. Yeah, he had an opportunity this week with Boak out, but I think Boak is going to come back in next week and take his spot. By all means, and saying all this negativity, and I don't like saying it, but I'm just being critical because I want us to be accountable for these issues and not keep celebrating 8 in a row. Hey, look, we're finishing in the top 3. This is where you start to knuckle down on the negatives that are impacting your game and seeing where you can improve them and make sure that you can win a game of football the next week and the week after and the week after. You start the ledger at 0 wins when you go into the next game. I don't care how much you've won previously. You start the ledger mentally at 0 wins. This is going to be your next game. This is going to be what you win. And today, once again, we proved that and we got the job done. And all I'm going to say is we're happy. So there's my review, Port fans. I'm not going to touch on too much more. It was a game that we all watched, all thought it was absolutely terrible. And I'm telling you right now, the replay's getting deleted. That game is never going. It's not going to be watched. That game won't be in highlight reels. I'm telling you. With the shortest highlights package, the AFL will put up on their highlights page. Simple as that. Shouldn't be rewatched. I don't care. Unless you put all your behinds together. I'm not going to say a single thing, but full credit to everyone else. Well done, Port fans, who attended the game. Very loud, very satisfied with how that was. So another game, another win, another tick. Thank you for watching, Port fans. Leave a comment below on your thoughts of this game. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. My name's Anthony, and as always, that's 8 in a row now. Count the pair.